19.
Yeah.
All right, he came back from that. Had to be a big adjustment. Well, it wasn't easy to just drop right into high-level college basketball, playing in the Pac-12, running up and down the court at the pace that they play out west. So I give him a lot of credit for coming back, and he may. I wish him all the best, and it would be a tremendous story, a fairy tale, if LeBron James and Bronny James combined and somehow won a title. That would be great. That would be Cinderella City. But if I'm Brad Stevens today, I'm afraid to show up for work. Whitey Bulger would be more welcome in Boston right now, I think, than Brad Stevens after whiffing on the opportunity to fuck with the Lakers permanently, get them back for all of the shit that happened over the years, and stick it to him by drafting Bronny James at number 54. You would have done nothing to hurt your franchise, and you would have done everything to cement your legacy. I don't think the Red Sox will ever win again because of this. I don't think the Bruins are good enough to win again because of this. And the Patriots certainly are in dire straits right now. I mean, the big story surrounding the Patriots is about their ex-coach banging some 9-year-old. Unbelievable. I don't want to go that low. Some 24-year-old, which is the equivalent of some 50-year-old guy going out with a 10-year-old girl. Unbelievable.
Legal but creepy. Yes.
All right. Last night, Lubie, I know you have some thoughts on this, and so do I.
I'm just resigned to the fact now.
Resigned would be the key word there. I thought I was watching the Ali Holmes fight, where you knew that the one guy probably wasn't going to hold up real well, but you were praying because you loved Ali that Ali would make at least a good showing.
Yeah.
The referee for this fight was a guy named Richard Green, and the entire time, Larry Holmes, from the opening bell, Larry Holmes is waving to Richard Green and saying, "Step in and stop it." They needed Richard Steele to be refereeing this fight. Yeah. And Richard Green, who what was not the most well-known of referees, did officiate a couple of big fights. And oddly, as Ali is taking this unmerciful beating from Larry Holmes, I mean, and just looking like a zombie in there, Angelo Dundee is begging him to stop. Freddie Pacheco is screaming at him. Bandini Brown is not making any of his usual poetic nonsense up and screaming it out of the corner. Instead, he's wearing a mask so that he won't be recognized coming out of the arena for allowing this travesty to persist. And Ali won't quit. He's just taking a pummeling. He looks like a zombie. Richard Green, by the way, was the referee in the Mancini-Dooku Kim fight. So he had a tendency, you could say, and this ended very tragically, to allow guys to take a little bit too much of a beating, no matter how brave they may have been in the process of having that administered to them unmercifully, as was the case with Larry Holmes. And you watch that fight the entire time. He's waving a green. Please, don't let this guy take any more punishment. And that's how I felt watching Joe Biden last night against, unfortunately, Donald Trump. Now, you know where we stand politically. We don't like to dive too deeply into this. They were talking about how Biden was going to be pumped up on vitamin B. What did they substitute embalming fluid for that? What the hell happened to this guy?
Sick, but that doesn't make you look like that. I mean, I don't know. He'll be 82 by the time the election happens. I mean, he's an 82-year-old. He shouldn't be running for president, nor should a 78-year-old who doesn't know how to answer a simple fucking question. So,
I wouldn't believe a word Trump says if his tongue was notarized. That's where we stand on that. But this was strictly about the look. Yeah, not necessarily about anything in terms of content or substance. I mean, Trump is spewing his nonsense, but the appearance of being not just a doddering old man, but a guy. They said he had a cold. It looked like he had a stroke before this thing.
He looks done. I mean, he just.
Oh my God, Lubie.
He looks done.
Democracy, I think, was set back centuries by the appearance. And it was the Biden party and the contingent that was pushing to have this debate. They should have never done this.
Yeah,
if they knew that this was the state that this man was in. My God, it was a travesty.
You didn't. I thought the Trump people were calling out the Biden people, so the Biden people were pushing back. To me, neither side needed this. I mean, it is what it is, and now it's gonna be more of an uphill climb for the Democrats. I don't understand. I thought it wouldn't happen because Trump wouldn't capitulate to rules, but they didn't hold any rules. Yeah, he didn't cut Biden off, but he was allowed to say whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. He lied the entire time. He didn't state one fact. Like he didn't.
But that's his MO. I mean, we were expecting that from Trump. All I was hoping for with Biden, and we're Biden supporters, I wouldn't vote for Trump if you paid me.
Yeah, no.
But that being said, people, now it's all perception. People don't dive deeply into things. They're not going to sit there and say, well, you know what? By the time they got to the 45th minute of this thing, Biden really bounced back. No, they could have had Bobby Bowden. He would have done better. Oh, my God. You talk about falling apart at the moment of truth. Was this John Starks 1994 Game 7? What do you think? You kept waiting for the guy to make a shot. You're Pat Riley. You're sitting there on the bench. You're going, my God, make a fucking shot already. You're the guy that carried me here. We're fine. We got rid of this other clown, this cretin, this guy that wants to be a dictator for the rest of his life. He may never leave the office of President Trump if he gets elected. He'll be embalmed. He'll be like those, you go to Rome and you're there. You went to the Sistine Chapel and took that tour where they have the embalmed popes from 1500. That'll be Trump. He'll still be in office in 3046. But I've never seen a blowout like that, Lubie. It was embarrassing. And no matter what, it didn't matter what Trump was saying. It was Biden and his actions. And plus, that split screen did him no good whatsoever. I mean, he looked like a zombie as he was trying to react. The audacity look for Joe Biden is not a good one. When he's looking at Donald Trump and he's spewing out all kinds of shit. And Biden gives that dumbfounded look like, huh?
Yeah, but it makes him look like he's.
Oh, my God.
Go home. Like
That was ugly. And if that was a Zoom call and he was trying to get a job as a mid-level manager at a local auto parts store, and all you saw was his portion of it, and this was his explanation about why he should have the job, it wouldn't matter who the next applicant was. You were going to be hiring him. That's the way I looked at that. That was just awful. And the people couldn't do enough of a cover-up last night. Even the liberal media was scrambling, going, well, can we run somebody else? What about Kamala?
And they weren't even trying to spin it. They were just down in the. I don't know. I was able to listen to the shit he said. I liked what he said. I didn't watch the first 30 minutes when he was total a disaster.
That was it. It was over after 5 minutes. This was a one-round knockout, my friend.
The first 20 minutes were so bad it didn't matter what he said after that.
He was like watching me when I lose my train of thought and then come back and say, yeah, well, so that's the way it is. Oh my, what a world it's become. All right, that was a bit of an eye-opener last night. I was looking forward to that. I was thinking all this guy has to do is kind of hang in there and look like he's a breathing, living, functioning human being, and this will be an easy one. This is a layup. And next thing you know, I'm looking on in stunned disbelief and thinking to myself, is the other guy making any sense? Because if he is, he's got the job. Unreal. Big setback for us last night. All right, we will see you guys, and good luck on all of your wagers over the weekend. There's a lot of stuff going on, huh?
Yes.
The Euros, are you watching that? What's the other? How many soccer tournaments are going on simultaneously around the world? Like 11 of them? What's happening? Is the World Cup on? What's going on?
World Cup's in 2 years. Euros and the Copa of America, which is...
And what is that? I saw
America.
Messi is involved in that. Our man Messi from the MLS team here in Miami.
Yeah, the American continents and all those teams, and then Euros, which is the real one. The Euros is the real tournament. They send real players. They really give a shit. The Copa is sort of, I mean, the teams that are there care, but I mean, it's Brazil who's actually struggling, Argentina, and then a bunch of bad. The Euros is the rest of the great powers in the world. So the Euros is a real deal. The Copa is not.
Late controversial goal by Argentina, triggered by a Messi corner kick,
of course,
to give them the 1-0 victory over Peru, and of course, over Chile rather, and of course, there was no change in the call, even though it was like blatantly offsides or whatever. Messi gets the benefit of every doubt, doesn't he? And he deserves it, too. He's a really good guy. We've seen him around town. The Stanley Cup continues to float all over the place also. And you're heading for the parade on Sunday as our Florida Panthers were finally triumphant after 30 years of futility. You're going to be out there, Lubie? You're going to brave the traffic and the mess that it's going to be out there on Fort Lauderdale Beach?
That's the plan. I mean, we'll see what happens Sunday morning, but that is the plan. It's mostly gonna be a rally at the end of the beach, and that is what I'm targeting. I think up and down the beach is gonna be a fucking disaster. But when they stop and there's tents and people celebrating, I want to be there. I mean, I haven't been able to be. I didn't get to go to any of the games. I wasn't even trying to deal with prices, and the watching games from empty arenas just didn't seem appealing to me. So I want to celebrate in this moment. We couldn't get down to Heritage. I didn't realize Reno was literally on Sports Center. Like he was literally.
Good friend of ours owns a restaurant where Roberto Luago, who happens to be married to this man's sister, fellow gentleman named Reno Sorbonne, married to this man's sister, Luago. He brings the cup in there and he's eating pasta out of the cup while Reno is the guy
has seen it. It's actually
grating the cheese in there.
Everywhere. Like he was the one that was grating the cheese where Luango's eating pasta out.
Yeah.
The Stanley Cup. I wasn't there for that. So I want to join in on the celebration in some fashion. So Sunday seems like the day.
By the way, too, I mean, it was really a great parallel, the Ali Holmes fight for me, because I was a huge Ali fan, still am. Still recognize him as the most influential and greatest boxer ever. And the 3 years that he was out of action, I think seriously compromised the level of greatness that he would have achieved. He may have even been out of the game by the time he finished those 3 years when he was in his prime, and he was denied a license and a chance to go ahead and compete. But I will never forget, and I had reason to be rooting for Larry Holmes in that fight because the deception was there. There was a picture in the newspaper that came out. I saw it in the LA Times. This was in 1980. A big picture, front page of the sports section of Ali, looking great. He had been bloated and overweight and slow during his previous fights. It was clear he was at the end of his career or well past it. You could even maybe see and sense some of the signs, early signs of Parkinson's being on set with Muhammad Ali. The last thing on earth, Freddie Pacheco, all of his people begging him not to take this fight. Larry Holmes was still somewhat towards his prime at that point. And, certainly was familiar with Ali from being his sparring partner, where he used to give him hell in the ring in all of his training sessions, and was razor sharp at that stage of his career. And sure enough, that they have this picture of Ali, and everybody wants to root for him so badly. They want him so badly to win and continue to maintain his career that he went off the betting favorite in that fight. A guy in there with no chance. And so I went and I plunged down as much money as I could get together on Larry Holmes, and yet I still found myself in just complete empathy and sympathy for the Ali cause, and that's how I felt for Joe Biden last night. What a burial! All right, we will see you guys on Monday. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate it. Make all your wagers at Bet Online. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's Degenerate Friday edition of the Morning Briefing.
The time